The legend is back, says Ford. But is the new Capri the reincarnation of an icon or a brand betrayal? Mechanically based on the Mark II Ford Cortina, the Capri was intended as a European equivalent of the Ford Mustang and went on sale in February 1969. Touted as the car you always promised yourself, Ford wanted the Capri to be affordable for a broad spectrum of buyers, hence it was available in a variety of engines and trims. And thanks to a combination of that genius marketing, brilliant value and good looks, it went on to be highly successful. In fact, it sold nearly 2 million units in its 3-generation lifetime. After a 37-year absence, the Ford Capri has been resurrected, and its return is rather controversial. It's electric only and based on Volkswagen Group's MEB platform, but Ford is hoping to revive the Capri nameplate, having already done so to some success with the Puma, Cougar and Mustang Mach-E. As you can imagine, fans of the original Capri aren't too happy. Firstly, because it's not got a petrol engine, and secondly, because it's an SUV. But it does have a lot going for it. Visually, the only similarity between the two cars is the badge and the shape of the rear three-quarter window. And if you're clutching at straws, the large front doors and the short rear doors. And if you squint really hard after maybe rinsing your eyes out with mouthwash, the wraparound grille with the 4 iconic headlamps is very slightly reminiscent of the Mark I. I don't know about you, but the only car I think this resembles is the Polestar 2. A fastback coupe this isn't. Philip T. Clark, the American automotive designer who penned the original, would be turning in his grave. Still, at least it doesn't look and feel like a rebadged VW ID.5. It is also longer and lower than the new Explorer, which is based on the same MEB tech, with a much bigger boot, featuring a height-adjustable compartment floor. It saddens me to say that the only nods to the past are the stylised 6 o'clock steering wheel spoke and the seats with integrated headrests. Other than that, it's exactly like the Explorer, and they've taken the tiny digital driver's screen and some of the switchgear from VW ID parts bin. Most irritating are the haptic steering wheel buttons, which either don't work, or if they do, it's often by mistake. Or the laughably bad electric window switches, which also utilise a cheap touch-sensitive button to enable you to switch between front and rear windows, because obviously having 4 switches for each window would bankrupt Ford. The large 14.6-inch touchscreen, I'm pleased to say, is so much better than Volkswagen's offerings. With Ford's own sync infotainment system, everything is easy to access and quick to respond. There is a distinct lack of buttons, but adjustments for the often used features are always visible at the base of the screen at least. Also, how cool is this? The screen tilts by 30 degrees to either reduce glare or bring it ever so slightly close to you. And check out this hidden storage compartment, perfect for your house keys, wallet or phone. It's a shame it's not more retro looking, although it is modern, well built and comfortable. It's practical too, with loads of storage space and plenty of head and leg room all round. Check out this. It's what Ford has coined the Mega Console. Sadly, it doesn't hide a retro mod game console to use whilst charging. How cool would that be? But instead houses these vertical slots for wireless phone charging, plus the obligatory USB sockets and cup holders, complete with removable rubber rings. And under the armrest, 17 litres of space. There are 3 battery packs and 2 trim levels. Rear-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive extended range in select trim, or if you opt for premium trim, you also get a choice of all-wheel drive extended range. The entry-level rear-wheel drive has a 243-mile range and 168 brake horsepower, enabling a not too shabby 8.7 second 0 to 62 mph sprint. It's well equipped, but it's a shame that the heat pump is only an option on all models. The rear-wheel drive extended range features a bigger 77 kilowatt-hour battery and a single electric motor producing 282 brake horsepower and 402 pound-foot of torque, enabling a 0 to 62 time of 6.4 seconds. It also has a range of 389 miles. All-wheel drive extended range comes with a slightly larger 79 kilowatt-hour battery and an additional electric motor on the front, increasing power to 335. Torque remains the same, but the added traction afforded by the extra motor brings that 0 to 62 miles per hour time down to 5.3 seconds. Range, however, suffers, dropping to 346 miles. You can fast charge all of the above in under 30 minutes, which seems to be the current industry average. Well, unlike the original, it neither drives like a sports car, nor do you sit down low. Instead, it provides you with an elevated driving position that so many car buyers now like. We've got the select rear-wheel drive extended range version, which with the £800 yellow submarine paint job and £1,800 driver assistance package will set you back just over £50,000. Blue-collar worker car, this isn't. It's 10mm lower than the Explorer, with Ford saying that it's retained the same comfort levels, but it's added some sportiness. While it shares the same components as the VW ID.5, it definitely handles better. While the firmer suspension does keep body roll in check, it does tend to crash and wallow a bit over bumps and dips in the road, especially when you pick up speed. It's grippy and quick in a straight line, and being rear-wheel drive, it feels a little more playful as well. But the steering is way too light and it lacks feedback, which can feel a bit unnerving when you're pushing it through the corners. It does weigh up a little in sport mode at least. Talking of which, there are 4 driving profiles: range, normal, sport and individual. Ford offers 2 levels of regenerative braking, D, which feels more akin to engine braking on an ICE car, and B, which brings it up to a more forceful level. It won't bring you to a complete stop, and it's just a shame that you can't adjust the strength of the regen. Moreover, the mechanical brakes feel a little bit spongy. It's a bit of a mixed bag all in all, and sadly lacking that distinctly Ford-like feel. It's a real shame when you think how well the Ford Focus and now defunct Fiesta handled. Hell, even the Mach-E feels more satisfying to drive than this. To try and answer my earlier question, while the old and new Capri have virtually nothing in common other than the name, it's fair to say that no other electric SUV has ever got such an incredible amount of attention. The marketing in that respect has worked, and despite the fact that it's not a sports car, as much as Ford might try and tell you otherwise, the Capri is a likeable car. But my biggest issue with it is price. In 1969, the Capri would have cost you £890. Bank of England's inflation calculator equates that to £12,675.98. Now, that is kind of irrelevant because the UK's cheapest new car is the Dacia Sandero, which starts from £14,200. The point is, it doesn't represent good value for money like the Capri we all know and love. Ford has done a better job of using the Volkswagen MEB platform, producing a car that looks okay, is built nicely and drives well. And perhaps that is why it costs more than the ID.5. But do you really want to spend more on a Ford-badged VW than Volkswagen itself charges? What the Capri isn't lacking is performance, and I just can't help but imagine if Ford had also recaptured the sports coupe styling and affordability that made the original such an icon, then I would have been more enthusiastic about this car. It's not a bad EV, but at the same time, a legend has not been reborn either.